Live from downtown Bakersfield, 23 ABC News starts now.
Good morning and thanks for tuning in for 23 ABC News at 6 a.m. I'm Danielle Kernkamp.
And I'm Mike Hart. Happening right now, emergency crews are continuing their cleanup at the Stockdale Highway and Nord Avenue intersection on the west side. These are pictures from about 3 o'clock this morning. CHP saying a big rig sheared off that power pole that's on the northwest corner of that intersection, knocking down power lines. Traffic lights are out at Stockdale and Heath. The driver did complain of pain, but no major injuries. Now, several other vehicles ran through the debris field before crews could get it all blocked off. This intersection is notorious for collisions with that pole. Crews have large yellow reflectors in place, painted warnings on the roadway, merge signs that are up, but the collisions continue to happen. Let's bring in Elena Rusk right now with a look at your weather. But first, how about a closer look at that intersection?
Yeah, so you can see there it's still closed, and this is way out on the west side. So people in those neighborhoods might be a little frustrated because all of that Stockdale traffic is being diverted into their region.
A lot of oil and ag people going out to the...
Exactly. So anybody trying to head out west, and usually you have the West Side Parkway where it dead ends. Everybody gets on a Stockdale Highway together, and they're like, nope, get off because of this closure. We don't have an estimated time from officials on when this will reopen, but still closed Stockdale Highway way out there west at Nord. So if you need to go east and west through this area, better to go up to the 58, use Rosedale Highway. Those of you who are off past Allen Road over east of here, the rest of Bakersfield, you're good to go. If you're heading on the West Side Parkway, it may be better to go ahead and exit at Allen, head up to the 58 from there. That's a good option. Stockdale Highway past Allen all the way through downtown and beyond, good to go. So let's look at our traffic. Let's take a look now at our weather, because we do have dry weather dominating our pattern here through California. Calm and quiet for our forecast this afternoon, but seasonal as well. Those upper 90s is going to be on the hot side, but it looks to stay shy of the 100s thanks to that storm system moving onshore to our north. That is colder air coming for them. This far south, it's not cooler, but it's seasonal, which we like. It does try to keep us out of the 100s. We have 60s and 70s right now for most of the county. If you want to open up those windows, let some of that fresh air in. As for later today here in Bakersfield, our average high is 98. You look to see how we hit 98 right at 5 p.m., but it does mean several hours of 90s in a row if you want to take the kids to the splash park to cool off.
And we do have some good news. It appears that power is back after that crash. This is the PG&E website. We were telling you earlier this morning that there were about 150 customers experiencing outages at around 4:30. By 5 o'clock, down to 40 customers. The outage is estimated to last until 6:45, but the PG&E map at this hour is all clear.
Today, small businesses impacted by the thousands of earthquakes that have rocked the Ridgecrest area recently will have a chance to learn about programs that are designed to help them pick up the pieces. Today, the Small Business Development Center will host a webinar at Cal State Bakersfield. It's designed to help out small businesses to learn about programs available to help them get back on their feet. The webinar begins today, just after noon at CSUB.
Meanwhile, House Minority Leader and Congressman Kevin McCarthy held a special teleconference town hall for those affected by the recent quakes in Ridgecrest. The town hall was held last night. McCarthy posted about its success on social media, saying, "Votes may have me in D.C. tonight, but home is always on my mind." During the town hall, Congressman McCarthy was joined by local officials, FEMA, the U.S. Geological Survey, and other agencies. Officials provided the community with updates on efforts being made to repair and rebuild Ridgecrest. At last check, more than 80 buildings were deemed uninhabitable in Ridgecrest. Damage assessments are still being made.
Cal State Bakersfield police have released new information and a photo of a person suspected of touching a Get Bus driver inappropriately while on campus. CSUB police released this photo taken from a surveillance camera on the bus. Take a close look. The suspect described as a black male about 20 years old, 5'6", with a thin build. He was last seen wearing dark shirt and shorts. Now, if you have any information on his whereabouts or you think you know who that is, call CSUB police at 654-4636.
In other news, the Planning Commission in Arvin gives the green light to the first cannabis cultivation facilities in the city. 23 ABC's Austin Westfall was at the meeting and has more from business owners and officials.
It shows progress. We're living in the Wild West of the cannabis industry right now, and this shows progress.
Bakersfield resident Mario Dellis co-owns JCM Farms, the company that will use the new space. Their operation will be built on what is now a fenced-off dirt lot on Potato Road. an area in Arvin known for agricultural production.
It has a bad rap, and because there's certain people that abuse it, just same with alcohol or anything else.
No one turned out to oppose the plan at Tuesday's city council meeting. The resolution was approved by a 3-0 vote. Della says his company is going to ship their cannabis all over the state.
The group that was putting this in was a very qualified, very professional group.
Arvin Planning Commission Chairperson Jerry Tinoco was part of the unanimous vote.
Anything that's going to bring jobs and revenue to the city is always a good idea, so, I was pretty happy with this opportunity and the investment being made in the community.
It is unknown how much revenue will be generated or jobs created, but one thing is certain. The product will not be sold at their facility.
Certain regulations, we have to be so many thousands of feet away from the nearest home or school or church, and there will be no sales of cannabis at our property.
And that was 23 ABC's Austin Westfall reporting. This morning, Kern County Public Health will discuss its newest campaign designed to help improve literacy. According to Public Health, people who have limited literacy have an increased risk of poor health. Now, Public Health will work to step in to help those with limited literacy improve their health and quality of life. They'll discuss its campaign at Beale Library this morning at 10:30. And today we're learning more about a new indoor sports complex coming to Bakersfield. Dignity Health has teamed up with the Game Day Sports Academy and She Power to develop what they're calling the first multi-sport indoor complex. It will be located at the old Track House building near the Boulevard and Tembler, just off Buck Owens Boulevard. It will cover 55,000 square feet and feature basketball courts, volleyball courts, and weight rooms. Dignity Health, Game Day Sports, and She Power will discuss the project at 11 this morning.
Students in the Kern High School District will get their first taste of working in the solar industry today. SunPower will be hosting its 4th annual Kern Solar Academy, designed to help high schoolers learn the ins and outs of the industry. More than 30 juniors and seniors will get a first-hand look this morning at marketing, business practices, and solar electric projects. The academy runs 5 days at Bakersfield College. All right, let's switch gears now, bring in Elena, and see if we're going to have plenty of sunshine for all that solar power.
It looks very nice. Yes. Okay. So here's our radar and satellite imagery. You see some high thin clouds coming through, plenty of sunshine, stability, and that leaves us seasonal this afternoon. I mean, some hot upper 90s, but that's right on track for average here on the valley floor. And that little bit of a breeze keeps us not only out of the 100s, but with moderate air quality, which we love to see. So we're at 70 right now here in Bakersfield. Later today, 98 with that moderate air quality, those high thin clouds, plenty of sunshine, warm weather for you. But again, this is a typical July day. If you're heading out to the coast, we have the Mid-State Fair kicking off today in Paso Robles. It'll be 87 for their high out there at 4 p.m. That's on the warm side, but it's also breezy. They have south-southwest winds 15 to 25 miles per hour. So it's going to feel awesome. It's 78 tonight with that breeze at 7:30 for the Miranda Lambert concert. We've been hearing about some really big headliners coming to the Mid-State Fair the next several nights. If you're waiting for a local concert, we do have the concert by the fountain tomorrow night. It'll be starting at 7 p.m. 94 out there, falling to those upper 80s. A really great evening to be out dancing, bringing your lawn chairs, and ice cold drink. We'll talk about some more weekend weather that you can expect as we look further out coming up in a few minutes.
50 years ago today, Apollo 11 was on its way to the moon, and a date in history as man would set foot on the lunar surface.
Reporter Sean Towles from our Scripps station in Denver spoke with one NASA legend and has more.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff. It was 50 years ago Tuesday that Apollo 11 launched into space and headed towards the moon. And after 4 days in space, the time had come.
I had the responsibilities for the lunar landing.
Gene Kranz was the flight director and mission control that day.
We copy you down, Eagle.
We have 12 minutes from the time we start down until the time we land on the moon. And there's an awful lot of critical events that have to happen at that time.
This is video of Kranz at the helm.
We had communications problems right from the very beginning. I have a controller that indicates we've got another trajectory aberration radio. And this basically is tilting the orbit.
And then, just like a Hollywood movie, fuel was running low.
I say, holy cow, we normally would have landed by now. And then pretty soon it's 30 seconds. And then I get the call about the time I was expecting 15 seconds. We recognize that the crew has just landed in the moon. And literally in mission control, the viewing room behind me erupts and cheering and noise and pounding and everything else.
But Kranz couldn't yet.
Got sort of unhappy because I just yelled to settle down until finally 2 hours after we've landed, my team can join in the rest of the world in the celebration.
Once he could celebrate, he was so proud of his team and their role. And out of that, he felt a great deal of patriotism and a philosophy he says the country should take going forward.
What America will dare, America can do. And I think that's really the kind of guideline that we have to set out for some of these allegedly impossible problems. They're impossible if you believe they're impossible.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground.
Sean Toll, Denver 7.
Still to come, remembering and honoring a longtime Supreme Court justice. We'll have details on the death of former Justice John Paul Stevens. That and more straight up.
Welcome back. It is 6:13. As we talk about our traffic, we still have Stockdale Highway closed way out on the west side by Nord Avenue after an early morning crash with a truck versus a pole this morning. No injuries there, but major cleanup. They still have some lines down in the road as well. So those of you who usually commute way out on the west side here, you're going to take West Side Parkway where it dead ends. They're going to turn you off. Heath is a good north and south. Allen is better if you want to connect to the West Side Parkway from there, or possibly Stockdale. Rosedale Highway is a good way to get east and west to avoid that incident there. Now the rest of Bakersfield is okay, but further to the south, the 223 is having some incidents after a crash this morning, which didn't result in any injuries, so it didn't look like a big deal. But now they say that they have to call out a hazmat crew. So the 223 out by General Beale Road, that's off as you are heading toward the 58 pass, could have some slowing. More on that in a few minutes.
A family from New Mexico was saved from a fire and got to meet their heroes. The parents actually dropping a child out of a window into the waiting arms of construction workers. ABC's Marcus Moore takes a look.
In this morning's GMA First Look, it is the heart-stopping rescue that made the city of Albuquerque hold its breath.
We got reports of multiple people trapped inside the building.
Those men are not firefighters. They are construction workers working on a nearby roof, coming to the aid of a family trapped inside a burning apartment building.
Be advised, we just got a call that apartment C, letter C, has children trapped inside. Command, children trapped inside reports.
Watch as the parents drop their baby safely into their arms. Then the men rescue a toddler and finally a ladder to save the parents.
We saw the smoke coming out of the window, and our reaction was just help, help. That's all it was.
Now this morning, only on GMA, we're reuniting that grateful family and those incredible heroes. Their message of gratitude and courage all coming up at 7 a.m. With your GMA First Look, I'm Marcus Moore, ABC News.
The House of Representatives will vote today on whether Attorney General William Barr and Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross should be held in criminal contempt. The matter involves the dispute over the 2020 census. Barr and Ross did not comply with subpoenas for information related to the push to add a citizenship question to the census. The vote was supposed to happen Tuesday, but it was postponed to make room for a resolution on the controversial tweets from President Trump. House Democrats are expected to pass the resolution against Barr and Ross, but it likely won't lead to prosecution. That would require Justice Department attorneys to pursue a case against their boss and another senior member of the Trump administration.
Retired U.S. Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens has died. The 99-year-old was at Holy Cross Hospital in Fort Lauderdale following a stroke Monday. Stevens was born on the south side of Chicago in 1920 and graduated from the Northwestern Law School in 1947. He was known for his trademark bow tie. Stevens was nominated to the Supreme Court by President Gerald Ford in 1975 and retired at the age of 90, clearing the way for President Barack Obama to nominate Justice Elena Kagan.
In other news, a driver is recovering from just minor injuries after what could have easily turned into a deadly crash in Massachusetts. The incident left the driver's car crumbled underneath a tractor trailer with half of the car still sticking out of the other side. Fire officials say it happened when the motorist hit an object in the highway, went airborne, and then came crashing back down with no braking power. The car careened across a grassy divider into an on-ramp, ultimately wedging itself underneath the semi and nearly popping out the other side. Amazingly, the driver was able to get himself out of the car through the driver's side door underneath the trailer. Super scary.
Police in Loretto, Tennessee are warning people not to flush drugs down the toilet, and here is why. Yeah, the risk of alligators actually consuming those drugs. In a Facebook post, they posted this showing some drugs that they confiscated giving again that warning that they could create meth gators. They said they, quote, shudder at the thought of what meth could do to animals. And they even mentioned that there have been reports of this happening in other parts of the state, in Tennessee and in Alabama. Scary stuff, right?
That's
an important reminder.
nightmares.
Yeah, I know. Meth gators. Could you imagine?
No, I don't want to
Exactly.
deal with a regular gator.
No.
Sounds like a new reality show.
I know, right?
Oh no,
Meth
here we
gators?
go.
Meth gators. Oh, you guys, I can see the headlines now. So as we talk about our weather, these are great headlines here. Mid-60s up in the North County and into Wolford Heights. 70 in Kernville, Isabella, Bakersfield, Lamont, Arvin. 71 out in Taft and Maricopa, and even Ridgecrest at the Sour. If you want it a little cooler, Tehachapi is at 57, Bear Valley 56, and Pine Mountain Club 53 at the Sour. Now we have storms tracking on shore to our north. So this far south, just a little bit of a breeze, some high thin clouds, but we're sunny and seasonal for another day. We love having moderate air quality. You see the Futurecast keeps all of that rain and those storms tracking on shore to our north, but it also creates a trough pattern, which means a dig of fresh air, and that continues today and into tomorrow. So the upper 90s continue just like we've had the last 2 afternoons. But watch what happens on Friday. A new system coming on shore to our north starts to dig down that cooler air just a little bit more and wants to take us to breezy 94 on Friday, several degrees below our average of 98. Saturday, 95 under sunny skies. Sunday, back on track for seasonal norms. And then we start trying to get into a next stretch of 100s, possibly all of next work week. But the last couple heat waves we've tried to predict, it ended up giving us a little bit of an onshore flow, and we were at 98 or 99. Still hot, but nice that it's not the 100s. So I'll call it a heat wave for now as we watch the potential for it, but I'm hoping it changes like the last couple have. Kern River Valley, 90s across the board from 94 today to 90 on Friday, and then slowly climbing back up. Tehachapi and Fraser Park, some 80s the next several afternoons. You see those low 80s Friday and Saturday. Really means much of your day is spent in the 60s and 70s up there.
Still to come, from Australia to Bakersfield, some Aussies taking the diamond against local talent. We'll have more on this and how it sounds out there on the ball field. Way to go, mate.
Welcome back. Baseball players from Down Under making their way to Bakersfield to take on high school teams in California.
Crikey.
Yeah.
23 ABC Sports Director Carrie Osip has more on this World Baseball Showcase.
Welcome into 23 ABC Sports. A group of under 18 Australian national baseball players are in the United States playing different teams this week, and they're at Cal State Bakersfield, where they're taking on some local high school teams and others across Southern California. And we just wanted to give you a taste of what Australian baseball sounds like.
Oh, bloody oath, good swing. Oh, good lick. Another boy, mate. Ow! Nah, but they want me to talk.
Well, big thanks to Blake for being our voice there, one of the players on the team. And this Australian team was taking on another SoCal team last night over at Hartfield. And while this is a great experience for the Aussie team, CSUB also reaped some of those benefits of hosting some international talent.
The biggest difference is their accent. That's the biggest. Baseball's baseball wherever you go. It really is. It is cool to get an Australian team out here. You don't get to see them that often, and that's great for them to be able to come out here to the States and do some traveling and see a bunch of different schools. And we actually just signed another one of their old players from last year.
So cool thing, we'll get to see some Aussie players here in Bakersfield in a couple years. But the Bakersfield teams, they will be playing the Aussies later today, Friday, and Saturday over at CSUB's home field. So if you're looking for some international baseball, we'll go take a look. Well, we like to highlight Bakersfield talent having an impact at the next level, and we featured former Frontier Titan Logan Gillespie, pitcher in the Brewers farm system, about a month ago. Well, yesterday, I got to catch up with Logan to see how his minor league journey has been. He's currently a right-handed pitcher for Milwaukee's Single-A team, the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, getting to experience the minors following a stint in independent ball, including the Pecos League. And the former catcher turned pitcher talks about that journey to professional ball with the Brewers, just another Bakersfield player in that organization, which would also include Centennial's Corbin Burns.
Senior year, I got drafted 22nd round to the Cardinals as a catcher, but I didn't take it. So after that, I was like, all right, we'll go to JUCO and then see what happens there. Caught my first year at JUCO, pitched my second year. Nothing happened. And they had a post-draft tryout at the Blaze Stadium for independent ball. Went there. I guess they liked what they saw, so then that's when I started playing independent ball.
Logan just giving a hint at that grind to make it to the minors. And Logan, he made his all-star debut with the Midwest League representing the Timber Rattlers back in June, making the most of his professional opportunity. Well, speaking of Burns, who is Gillespie or is trying to follow on that Brewers roster, well, he hit the injured list on Monday this week. He is on the 10-day IL with what the team is calling a shoulder irritation. Burns hasn't had quite the season since leaving the bullpen and opening up this season as a starter. Hopefully some recovery time helps Burns get back in order. And you know, it would be pretty cool to one day see Logan and Corbin both playing for the Brewers. And for 23 ABC Sports, I'm Carrie Osep. Have a great morning, everyone.
We still have a lot more to do in our final half hour. The community mourning the death of a local car dealership owner. Details still very sketchy on the passing of Jose Arredondo. We'll have more on that coming up.
Live from downtown Bakersfield, 23 ABC News starts now.
Remembering a local business icon who made Kern County his home. We'll have details on what family and friends are saying this morning about the passing of Jose Arredondo.
Plus, a pack of canines will be taking over Bakersfield this weekend. More on how a competition is helping law enforcement and their four-legged partners.
And a good morning to you once again. Thanks for staying with 23 ABC News at 6:30. I'm Mike Hart.
And I'm Danielle Kernkamp. Happening right now, emergency crews along with PG&E are cleaning up an accident at a busy intersection on the west side of Bakersfield. CHP officials say a big rig collided with a power pole at the corner of Stockdale Highway and Nord Avenue. The crash knocked down lines just across the entire intersection. Traffic lights were out at Stockdale and Heath.
Yeah, the driver complained of pain, but no major injuries reported. Several other vehicles ran through the debris field before it could get blocked off. Yeah, that intersection notorious for collisions with that pole on the northwest corner. Crews in the past have put up large yellow reflectors. They painted warnings on the roadways, put up big merge signs, and yet still this is happening. Let's bring in Elena Rusk right now to get a look at our traffic and a first look at weather.
Yeah, so we'll start with our traffic at that scene there. You see slowing both directions of Stockdale Highway here at Nord. So as they are continuing to do that cleanup, we don't have any estimated time for when they'll reopen the lanes there. But you're going to want to avoid Stockdale Highway after it merges with West Side Parkway. So those of you trying to take the West Side Parkway to the west side, I'd suggest getting off on Allen, go north, take Rosedale Highway further west from there. Of course, you could snake your way through these neighborhoods, but all of those people in those residences don't want you snaking your way on their city streets, and many of them are farm roads that dead end when you might not expect it. Likewise, Stockdale Highway is good to go further east of here, past Allen Road. You're just going to want to avoid that area far out on the west side. So there's a look at the rest of Bakersfield, which is flowing along freely, but we've had a report of a crash at the 223 near General Beale Road. This is down south of Sunset Boulevard. You see kind of off to the, there it is, the east of Arvin. See in our little red box there, how Arvin's right there. So this is the 223 that is closed. It seemed to be a minor crash for about an hour, and now suddenly they say, you know what, it's a hazmat situation. Got to shut down Bear Mountain Boulevard. So again, those of you trying to travel through this area, go ahead and avoid the 223 there. Head up to the 58 instead. You can get through the pass just fine all the way up to Tehachapi beyond that.
At least one person is dead following a multiple vehicle crash on the I-5 overnight. According to the CHP's traffic incident website, 2 semis and another vehicle were involved in a crash just after midnight on the 5 near Highway 46. There is at least one reported death. No word at this time on any other injuries in this collision. We'll continue to update this story as more information comes into our newsroom.
We are still waiting for official word out of Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, where local business leader and car dealership owner Jose Arredondo has died. His death leaving family, friends, and employees in a state of shock. John Petrie, Chief Operations Officer at Motor City Buick GMC and Motor City Lexus, said he got an email informing him and other dealers in the area that Arredondo had died. There's still no official word. Rumors and speculation are all over social media. But according to Petrie, in that email, there were no further details.
His family was, reached out to us and let us know what happened, and, certainly a sad circumstance. I don't know the details of the situation. I only know that he was in Cabo San Lucas on business and pleasure. I know he had a home down there and a business down there, so I don't really know the circumstances why he was there, but unfortunately something tragic happened to him last night.
According to the Family Motors website, Arredondo was born in Mexico and came to the U.S. when he was 12. His first car dealership was in Mission Hills back in the 70s. He moved to Kern County in 1993 and expanded that business over the next 25 years. Officials in Mexico have still not released any official information in regards to his death. We'll continue to monitor that and bring you it just as soon as we can verify it.
Police need your help locating a woman who went missing in central Bakersfield. This is 34-year-old Elizabeth Solis. According to BPD, she was reported as a missing adult at risk. Solis was last seen yesterday on Oleander Avenue near Bakersfield High School. She is described as having brown hair and brown eyes and was wearing a blue shirt and black shorts. If you have any information on this missing case, contact BPD at 327-7111.
In your Ag Report, a proposal from the U.S. Department of Labor to modify the existing agricultural visa program has been met with initial support from farm leaders. California Farm Bureau President Jamie Johansson said he's encouraged by the administration's efforts to improve the system that's known as H-2A. Johansson says farmers also need congressional action on wider improvement to immigration laws. He said that would help to address chronic employee shortages.
In other ag news, many urban residents now take broadband internet service for granted, but it remains scarce in some rural areas. An estimated 1/4 of rural Americans lack sufficient broadband service, including many in California. Farmers say more reliable service would allow them to adopt technology to improve precision of water and fertilizer use, as well as animal care. Internet availability also hampers delivery of public services in rural regions.
18 farms, ranches, and ag organizations that have been in continuous operation for at least 100 years will join the California Agricultural Heritage Club today. The state fair inducts new members into the club each year. 2 farms or ranches will be honored for 150 years of operation. The Grohl family ranch in Stanislaus County and the Wilbur Ranch in Sutter County each began in 1869. Last year, Tejon Ranch was honored for reaching 175 years of more continuous operation.
In other news this weekend, canines from law enforcement agencies all over the U.S. and as far as Mexico will be in Bakersfield, showing off their tactics and techniques in the annual canine trials. This morning, we're taking a look at how those skills translate to a day on the job for canine officers.
Our call sign is King 2.
Bakersfield Police Canine RJ knows exactly what that sound means.
He knows our call sign whenever he hears me pick up the radio.
It means it's time for RJ and Officer Brad Vaughn to get to work.
Building searches, burglaries, any real in-progress crime is where we try to use them.
And that's exactly where they're headed this morning. A downtown Bakersfield business reported a burglary overnight, and it's yet to be cleared for the possibility of a suspect still inside.
I don't know if they came out yet.
The Bakersfield Police Department, this is your final warning. I'm a police canine. Come out now or make yourself known, or my dog will find you and he will bite you.
RJ shows Officer Vaughn the basement is all clear.
I know if he's sitting down there at the bottom of the stairs that the chances of someone being inside the building or being inside that room at the base of the stairs are pretty minimal. So reduces the risk to the officers on scene.
It's exactly what canines are trained to do on the job every day. Going into potentially dangerous places, searching, seeing, smelling what humans can't.
It kind of gives us that warning, you know.
Protecting officers from the unknown, sometimes even saving lives. RJ specializes in criminal apprehension and explosives detection. Meanwhile, Canine Hero with the Kern County Sheriff's Office is trained to find and take down suspects and to find narcotics.
We're together 24/7, more than any other person in my family. He's with me all the time, so the bond grows pretty quick and it's pretty strong.
Canine Hero and Deputy Andrew Bassett have been working together for about 3 years.
I think the biggest thing, the misconception, is a lot of people think that our canines are extremely vicious and mean. I mean, you could see right here, and he's just in there hanging out. It's the farthest thing from the truth. They're just like your dogs at home, except they just have a little bit more drive and desire to go out and do the job that they do.
Hero has placed at other canine competitions, and now he'll be going head-to-head for the title of top dog at the Bakersfield Canine Trials, competing with police dogs all over the state and as far as Mexico. Canines will demonstrate search skills, obedience,
under, kennel safe,
and agility in obstacle courses, skills that reflect real-life encounters for canines on the job.
We encounter stuff like this all the time where a deputy couldn't access it, but we believe maybe a suspect or somebody's inside of it.
And it pays off on days like this.
He's going southbound.
K9 RJ and Officer Vaughn are called to help out the gang unit locate 2 suspects.
Let's go.
About 20 BPD units respond, set up a perimeter, trying to find and arrest 2 men who were running through backyards in an East Bakersfield neighborhood.
Someone needs to go to the back of the residence.
A situation like this, the perfect scenario to use K9 RJ's apprehension skills to find and take down suspects. Unique even among the dozens of officers present.
Presents an incredibly high risk to officers and the public. Something where we use the K9 to locate and, if needed, apprehend the suspect. RJ did a good job. He did a good job today.
The competition is happening Saturday at Rabobank Arena, and the proceeds are going towards the Armed Forces Support Foundation. So a $2 per entry donation is recommended at the door, but they say if you can't make that happen, to head on down anyway. They're going to be there all day.
Oh, we love that. We love seeing them at work and showing off their skills. They are very well-trained officers. So let's take a look out at our radar and satellite imagery. Calm and quiet out there. We do have some high, thin clouds coming down. That's a sign that there's still some fresh air coming on shore, leaving us sunny and seasonal. We're hot in those upper 90s later today, but that's on track for average. We're trying to keep those 100s away for another afternoon. So right now you're waking up to 60s and 70s here on the valley floor in the Kern River and down into the desert areas. Still 50s in Breckenridge, the Tehachapi region, and Pine Mountain Club at this hour. A little bit of a breeze as well. It's about 10 to 20 miles per hour for now through those mountains and deserts, picking up midday into this afternoon. That keeps the valley with moderate air quality, keeps those temperatures out of the 100s for most locations. And you see as those winds pick up this afternoon, we'll be enjoying that fresh flow. So therefore we're at 98 this afternoon about 5 p.m. and then quickly dropping back down to those 80s later on this evening as you're putting the kids to bed. Up in the mountains, you're going to see some 90s in the Kern River Valley, but 88 in Glenville, 85 in Tehachapi, 83 in Fraser Park. Still some 100s out in the desert away from that fresh wind. Ridgecrest 103, Cal City 100. Mojave though only 95, cooler than Bakersfield because of that wind from Tehachapi coming on down.
Still to come on 23 ABC, if you're looking for a way to eat chocolate without refined sugar, that dream could become a reality pretty soon. More about the brand who's behind this push coming up.
And the Emmy noms are out. Several notable achievements. We will run that down for you when 23 ABC News continues.
Welcome back. 6:44 in just a couple seconds. I wanted to show you that we still have major slowing on Stockdale Highway at Nord because we have that road that is completely closed after an early morning crash. It was a truck that hit a power pole, took lines down. So PG&E out there doing those repairs. As a result, if you're taking the West Side Parkway and you usually merge onto Stockdale, they're going to turn you right around. Best to get off at Allen and head up to Rosedale Highway. Take that if you want to go further west. Likewise, those of you way out on the west side trying to come in, take Rosedale instead of Stockdale. Once you get to Allen, you can get onto the West Side Parkway just fine. Let's take you down to another crash here where the 58 is heading off toward Tehachapi. Those of you down further south, maybe you try to take the 223 to connect to the 58 from there. Well, we do have a crash from earlier this morning that has now completely blocked the 223 Bear Mountain Boulevard at General Beale Road due to a hazmat cleanup. So it's not just the crash, but now a cleanup in that area that has this region blocked. As a result, go ahead and take the 184 Weed Patch Highway up to the 58, connect from there. It's a little bit out of the way, but it's going to spare you that time trying to get around on those farm roads.
The countdown continues for a verdict in the case of a Georgia caregiver accused of murder and elder abuse. Here's a preview of Court TV.
I'm Vinny Politan. Today on Court TV, Verdict Watch continues in Cobb County, Georgia. It's the case of Georgia versus Landon Terrell. He was a caregiver in an assisted living facility. One of the residents died, a 91-year-old man named Adam Bennett. And now prosecutors have charged Terrell with felony murder, elder neglect, and elder abuse. We know the jury has reached a verdict on 4 out of the 5 charges in the case because they've sent a lot of notes to the judge. In one of those notes, we found out that the jury deadlocked on the first count of felony murder. The count is 11-1. We don't know if it's 11 guilty or 11 not guilty, but we should get a final resolution to the case today, right here on Court TV.
In health news, federal, state, and local authorities are investigating a multi-state outbreak of E. coli. They think the outbreak is linked to ground bison from North Fork Bison Distributions out of Quebec, Canada. The CDC and the FDA say 2 different strands of E. coli have been found. North Fork Bison Distributions is voluntarily recalling ground bison and ground bison patties produced between February 22nd and April 30th of this year.
In health news, people in New York soon won't be able to buy tobacco or e-cigarettes until they turn 21. Governor Andrew Cuomo signed the legislation saying, quote, "We can prevent an entire generation of New Yorkers from forming costly and potentially deadly addictions." The change will go into effect in 120 days and will apply to the sale of traditional tobacco products as well as electronic cigarettes and vaporizers. According to the American Cancer Society, 95% of all smokers began using tobacco before they turned 21. More than a dozen states have approved raising the smoking age, though in some, the changes won't take effect until later this year or in the coming years.
If you have Sprint, you might be a victim of a new data breach. Sprint says hackers got access to people's accounts through Samsung's website. As of this morning, it says it doesn't know how many people got hacked. According to Sprint, hackers got names, addresses, and phone numbers along with account numbers, account and device information. It says the hackers did not get credit card numbers, though. Sprint says it had impacted customers reset their PINs a few weeks ago.
Some consumer news now. Nestle giving chocolate lovers a reason to indulge without worrying about the calories. Oh, yeah. The Swiss company revealed its new invention. Look at it. Chocolate without refined sugar. Nestle says it created a 70% dark chocolate made entirely from the beans and pulp of the cocoa fruit. No sugar needed.
Oh. Yeah. And if you're worried about the taste, we're just going to have to do a little taste test, right? In entertainment news, this year's Emmy nominations made some history in several ways. Billy Porter's nomination for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama for Pose is the first nomination in that category for an openly gay black man. HBO's Game of Thrones set a record for most nominations for a drama series with 32, and HBO overall set a record for the most nominations with 137. The Emmys air September 22nd, and still no host so far. So we're wondering if they're even going to get one, because the Oscars didn't have their host. So
oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I wonder if they're going to, follow the lead.
Mike Hart's available.
Yeah, Mike would do it.
Nope, I'm busy.
September 22nd, you're already busy?
Yep, I've got 3 things on the calendar.
Yeah,
if you got that call, you'd be like, I'll be right there.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I do.
Nope.
Don't believe you. All right, let's take a look outside at some 60s and 70s on the valley floor and down into the desert. 60s in the Kern River Valley now, as Kernville has just fallen to 69 for your morning low. Still 57 in Tehachapi, now 58 in Fraser Park and Lebec. So a cool morning here on the valley floor. We have moderate valley air quality as systems continue to track to our north. So you see the futurecast keeps all the rain that way. We're just going to have some high thin clouds and a bit of a fresh breeze today and tomorrow, which leaves us seasonal, those upper 90s here on the valley floor. But with you, this contour map, you see a little bit of that dig. That's called a trough. It means fresh air today and tomorrow, and then a little bit of a deeper dig on Friday as another system comes on shore to our north. So that leaves us breezy and at 94 Friday afternoon. That's well below our average of 98. By Saturday, 95. And then we're going to get back to average 98 on Sunday, and we're trying to get another heat wave coming our way next week. You're going to see sunshine across the board, plenty of 100s. A heat wave is 3 or more days of 100s in a row. We've tried to have a couple heat waves in our forecasts the last couple weeks, but they keep collapsing, and we'll get a day that's like 99. Still hot, but breaks that heat wave streak. I'm hoping that's the case, but for now, it does look like at least 5 days next week of triple digits for the valley. Nothing up in the Kern River Valley, though, keeping you in the 90s the next several afternoons. From 94 today, by Friday, you're down to 90. In Tehachapi, 85 today, low 80s Friday and Saturday. Fraser Park, look at those low 80s today, right on through Saturday. It means much of your afternoon up there is spent only in those 70s. So if I'm not at work tomorrow, you know where I'll be. That's a great forecast up there.
Still to come, not the foul ball you might expect at a baseball game. No, this foul ball had attitude. Just wanted to strut. That's exactly right. We'll show you the end result when we come back.
The second inning of the game between the Padres and Marlins was briefly delayed by a little foul play, but it wasn't exactly a foul ball. A pigeon actually made its way onto the field and just kind of took over the game, took the spotlight. Despite efforts from umpires and Marlins first baseman Garrett Cooper to get the bird to fly away, it stayed on the field, kept taking off and then touching right back down, and continued to walk along the first baseline. It eventually walked into the outfield, at which time play resumed.
Different kind of foul?
Different kind of foul, exactly.
Apollo 11 launched to the moon yesterday, 50 years ago, and just 4 days later, astronaut Neil Armstrong took those now infamous steps. Well, the Washington Monument is providing a little honor to the Saturn V rocket. There it goes. I love this. The Saturn V rocket, the tallest and most powerful rocket ever built by man, carried the Apollo missions into space, a life-size image, all 363 feet of it, projected onto the Washington Monument, 555 feet tall. Yeah, it had plenty of room. But I love how they projected it on there, and then you see all the the gas escaping. All
so cool.
It started yesterday. It's going to be there tonight and tomorrow. Friday and Saturday, a 17-minute program called Apollo 50 Go for the Moon will be projected on the monument and on screens all over the mall. It's this weekend. Wow, I wish we could be there.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So cool.
Oh, now show us something real fun, Alyssa.
Well, Mike, don't be bitter, okay? I'm sure you've
Don't be
noticed.
what?
Bitter.
Yeah, that's
You've noticed on social media, your friends and your family on your timeline, they've aged a little bit, or at least it looks like they have, thanks to ASAP.
I look pretty good.
It includes,
I look good.
You do.
Yeah, it includes a feature where you can upload your picture.
Why do I look the worst out of all of us?
Well, I'm
Danielle
not gonna,
didn't even
I'm not
age.
gonna
Look
answer
at that.
That's like 2050. So
Yeah, this is probably like, what do you think, 40
You kind of
years?
look like your mom.
Do I?
Yeah.
40 years from now?
I think it's very flattering because your mom is gorgeous.
Aw,
Yeah.
thank
Hold on a
you.
second. You said
She'll love
this
that.
is supposed to be projecting
I don't
40
know.
years?
I mean, I think for me, maybe
my
60.
mid-90s.
You
it's
know?
funny because it like even gets your neck, you know?
Yeah,
like, it looks
yeah.
so
Ew,
realistic.
hilarious.
I like it doesn't change the female's hair though. Like Mike, they made completely white. You did Brandon's picture.
What are you talking about? That's going to be my voice.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn! You damn kids. I'm
But so it's
Who's
called
making all that noise?
it's called FaceApp, right? So we've shared all these on our social media.
Someone answer the phone.
Take a picture and show us what
Yeah,
you're
please do.
like.
Can you
Please
speak up a
do.
little bit for Mike? He can't hear.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. So this has been
This is
very fun. A
awesome.
lot of people
Yeah.
are having some big emotions about
Is that
this
your
thing.
dog?
Someone was commenting on my picture and they said, "Don't wish time away, like enjoy." And I was like,
Yeah.
"This is just a fun
This is
app,
just
you know?
fun.
Yeah,
We're
oh,
having
that's a lot of
time."
fun.
It's
That's
just
just fantastic.
Are you having
I
a good
love
time?
it.
Are you having a good time?
What? I'm sorry.
Start complaining about taxes next.
It's so cold in here. Damn.
Mike, you say most of these things anyway.
know.
I don't know why.
Except for the cold
You're
thing.
on your
I don't
tone.
complain
Kind of
about the
already
weather.
there.
I don't
It's
complain about the
true.
weather. I'm
And you're not
already
going to complain
there.
about it being cold because it's not. We're at 70 right now. We do have some fresh air coming on shore with moderate air quality today. Average today and tomorrow, mid-90s, Friday, Saturday, trying to get a stretch of 100s. That'll make your bad knee feel better.
Wait, me or her?
I'm joking. I actually have a bad knee. It
I
just
was
makes
just,
me
I
laugh.
think Danielle does too.
Oh my gosh, you guys are making my eyes water. It's
Oh.
so funny.
So share your pictures. Let us know what you think.
Oh, yeah,
I love
please
getting
share.
older. I think it's a blessing. A lot of people very
Absolutely.
upset to see a peek into the future.
Yeah.
It's scary.
It's a little scary.
It's not scary.
You're not scared?
It's ridiculous. That's going to do it for us this morning. Don't forget you can find breaking news, weather, traffic, face apps, everything you need on our website.
See you back here in